Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. We are here with you on 3 Agent to help make your real estate career a little bit better, a little bit brighter, to tell you what we're doing in hopes that it will help you. 3 Agent is a place where a lot of top agents come. Marti Hampton, that would be me, Kyle Whistle, Daniel Beard, Amy Whelans, come and tell you what they're doing in their business to help their business grow, and how we're keeping up with this maddening race of real estate and how it's changed just in the last few years around here. So today's topic is 5 creative listing techniques to help your home sell faster. And I'll be talking about that, but I don't want this to be a one type conversation. If you've got any comments, any questions, just type them into the chat and we'll get to them, and we'll certainly get to them by the end of my 15 minutes or so with you. 5 creative listing techniques to help your listings and your home sell faster. I went to the Triangle Business Journal yesterday, had their one of their top awards ceremonies, and they honored some of our local developers and entrepreneurs. But one of the biggest things they brought out was, why are people coming to this area? Why are people coming to Raleigh? And that really has flavored our real estate community. Ever since I've been in real estate, we've always been on the top 10, but we consistently for the past 2 or 3 years been on one of the top places, all the 1 spot, the 2 spot. Right now we're in the number 2 spot for economic development and real estate prospects. And it was an award that was given by the Milken Institute, 2024 Best Performing Cities, noted that Raleigh was number 2 and Charlotte was number 10. And I love it so much when we beat Charlotte. However, we did not beat Austin, that pesky little town in Texas, that pesky little town in Texas that has a river and bats and a whole bunch of other things. But one of the things that they brought out is the reason they think that we are number 2 on that list is because we have a lot of choices. If you go to Austin, if you've been to Austin, I've been to Austin several times, it's one big city. In other words, Austin doesn't have Cary. It doesn't have Chapel Hill. It doesn't have Durham. It doesn't have Raleigh. It doesn't have the North Hills area. It's just got one big Austin and maybe one other little side place that goes. But we've got so much more flavor to choose from here in the Triangle. And that's the reason people are coming here. And folks, that can be a double-edged sword because frankly, our market is ruled right now a lot by relocating buyers. And there's a danger to that in your real estate business, because the danger when relocation is hot is just to pick up those relocation buyers and just do a great job with them and earn a pretty decent living. However, you will not have an enduring business and career in real estate unless you learn how to list properties and keep an inventory of listings. And that's the reason our topic today is 5 creative listing techniques to help your home sell faster. And you really have to have a performer. You have to have a business plan for that. So I'll go over 5 things that I think you're going to need to have. The first thing is not so unusual. I think you've probably been told this before, but the first thing is to price accurately. And that is a key with our market right now, because comps and what your seller clients, your homeowners that want to sell have heard really wild stories about the lotto market, the wild go-go market. And the price for the homes that their neighbors got, or that they heard about somebody getting at work. So it's really a little bit more challenging to price it correctly out of the gate. There's a couple of really great reasons to price it correctly out of the gate. And the first thing is you're going to get closer to your sale price. Let's say, I wish we had a home for $100,000, but we don't. We don't have very much that's livable, but let's say you had a home listed for $100,000 and that was the accurate price. And let's say your seller really wanted to list that home for $110,000, which you knew was 10% overpriced. Well, the accuracy, if you go by the TAR report, says if you list that home at $110,000, you're going to get about 89% of your list price. when you reduce the price. And if you list it correctly at the 100,000, you're going to get 98.5 or 99% of the list price. So pricing straight out of the gate is a strategy to get a highest price. But in my opinion, there's a whole lot of things that you need to do along with pricing correctly, because pricing correctly, even, every homes in our area, there's 26% of those homes that are going to get multiple offers. So we're still in a very strong market. However, sometimes selling too quick can be your enemy, and I'll tell you about that later. But pricing right is my first strategy to help you sell your homes faster. But you don't do it without preparing. When you go to the airport and you get on a plane, there's a checklist that the pilot has. And the checklist, you want him to be very accurate on his checklist before he takes that plane off and it's airborne, and it's called committed. Because when it's committed, he cannot turn around. He can't change course once the aircraft is committed. And I've seen so many listings go into MLS before they were accurate. Dave, can you get that low battery thing on there for me? But so that is really, really important. Do not put your house on the market until all the paperwork is done correctly. Take time with your descriptions of the property. Take time explaining the disclosure and what the seller should be filling out with accuracy. Agents don't fill out disclosures. Homeowners fill out disclosures. So get all your paperwork right, get your marketing materials right. But all this time, folks, this house should not be active. You don't slap a house on the market with one or two pictures. You don't do that. And I'll talk to you about that. But really, one of my strategies for incredible photos, I want to talk to you about photos. There's I see agents all the time that put every photo in the world. They go out and do 50 shots of the house, or they have somebody do 50 shots of a listing, and they put every single one on the listing. And to me, that's a disservice. What you're trying to do with the photos is entice somebody to come and see the home. And of course, we know that we're a pictorial society, that we do things more through a picture than anything else. If you want to see that for a fact, just look at Facebook and the post there, which ones have the most views are the ones that have pictures on them. But you don't put every single picture. Every single picture is not an enhancement. It does not say, come look at me. So actually, I would be in a camp that would advise you to put fewer pictures, but better picture. Put your best pictures. Take a lot of pictures, but then choose very wisely the pictures that you put on. I love incredible pictures. I love twilight pictures. I love pictures that are a little bit different than what you're seeing on the average. It's almost like if you get booked for, I don't know, some kind of violation where they go take your picture. They take your front picture. They take your sideway picture. And we get the same old pictures every day in MLS about houses. And I think there's a case to be made there for making interesting pictures and just using the very best shots that you can to entice somebody to come see the home. The second thing I would tell you is that we're putting floor plans online now. But I don't know that that's always a really good idea, because there's so many buyers now that are making decisions and passing by houses that they would possibly go and see and maybe overcome one negative or something because of the overall of the house. So your MLS, your pictures online, your pictures that you put on your website should be there as an enticement, not as a full body cam that takes away every bit of mystery about the house. So I'm just saying that with the floor plan also, if you've got one thing that's not going to play well with the public, is there enough in that house to get the public to come and see that house and perhaps overlook Maybe somebody wants an open floor plan, and maybe you have a house listed that it has a closed dining room, but there's enough openness in the house that everything else would appeal to them. So I would say think twice before you put just a blabbering of everything you collect on that house. The second thing, the other things I would tell you is that stories sell, and every house has a story. And a lot of times I have to talk to sellers who've really gone on to another house. Maybe they've gone on to another state. They've really lost interest in their house. And that's what we're trying to sell, is the house that they've lost interest in. So I have to talk to them about, why did you love this house in the first place? What is the story? Tell me the story about the neighborhood. Tell me the story about something great that happened for you when you bought this house. Why was it so special for you? So I think that's a great thing. So my second thing is, don't do anything until everything is executed to the highest level that you can possibly execute it to. And then I would have the third thing I want to tell you is to have a firm pre-marketing strategy for your home, a pre-launch strategy. When you launch this into MLS, you can't take it back. So in my opinion, everything needs to be really top drawer, needs to be 100%. We are in a digital age. Everything is online. Every bad picture you've ever taken about yourself and about the house that you represent, somebody can find it online. So you want to be careful, because online marketing is an absolute game changer in our industry. And a lot of people are just treating it very haphazardly. So I want to ask you what your offering is to a homeowner that wants to sell, that is above and beyond what every other agent is going to do, and that is entering the house into MLS. I mean, what do you do differently? And you got to have an answer to that. If you want to be a listing specialist, if you want to have your home sell faster, you need to have a database. And a database is something, the larger the better, because these are people. Why should you have a database? Because this is a group of people that are interested in real estate. Where does that database come from? Well, if it comes from me and my team, it comes from a number of different websites that we've used, that we still use, that we utilize, that people come to, mostly buyers, people that are interested in real estate, whether they're in town or whether they're relocating to this area, and they have an interest in real estate, but they're not necessarily on MLS every single day. But if something comes up in a neighborhood that they favor, all of a sudden their interest goes from warm to hot. And if you don't have that asset, I want to ask you to consider joining forces with a team that does have that asset. Because I believe, one of my competitors said, if you don't have your own database full of, let's say, 250 people, you'll be out of business in about 2 years, because Zillow and other people like that, other companies, other tech companies like that, are chopping up real estate and taking it bite by bite by bite. So I'm in business right now to teach people how to have a long-term business, to inspire, to mentor people that are like me, that needed something, that needed a career that was a good income career, but something they could really put their heart and mind and their gut into, and come out with something on the other side. And one of the ways you do that is by developing your database and then communicating with that database. And of course, when you've got a new listing, that's a great time to communicate with your database. So always ask, what can you do for a seller that Zillow can't do? What can you do to put more eyes on your listing? So that's really, really important. Joining a team with a database is the right move for some agents to make. We've got to go above what MLS thinks. Unfortunately, sellers, homeowners think it's the magic pill. Some of them think if it goes on Zillow, it's going to sell. And sometimes selling too quickly can be your enemy and can also be the enemy of your homeowner that wants to sell, because we work in a market sometimes that sells real estate too quickly to get the full value. And I want you to think about that statement, because I believe it with all my heart. We're in a rising market right now with people coming in here. We're topping the list of places to live, and people can decide where they want to live. So it's really, really important that you slow down when it comes to doing it right and presenting your house correctly. So I want to explain another thing that I think is really important about the pre-launch. There is some companies, I think our company is leading the way on working with something called office exclusives. And some of the bigger companies have this. I could talk a lot of politics right now. When I'm talking about politics, I'm talking about real estate politics, about something that's called the Clear Cooperation Policy that they came up with 3 or 4 years ago, that said if you took a new listing, you absolutely could not promote it until it was in MLS. And to me, this was a juggernaut on the ability of the agent to work with the seller to accurately market a property. So I won't get in too deeply how much I do not agree with that rule. But what I will tell you is that office exclusives is being utilized by my team and by my company to give the seller the best possible experience when listing their home. And that means the office exclusive, of course, it doesn't go online. It goes exclusively to EXP agents. It gives the time to build the portfolio of information about the listing. And it really can give you the time to polish the listing presentation, so that when you step on the stage and open the doors, and that first day in MLS is really, really just a big success for your seller. And of course, we use office exclusive, let's say for a minimum of 10 days, 2 weeks. And then we use coming soon status. Yes, we still use coming soon status, because we want that full presentation to have the time for us to have the online presence. And it does take online presence to rev up the crowd, to get everybody there, to front load that listing, so that you've got the most excited people, the most excited prospect buyers there right at the first of the listing. So I just want you to, I'm encouraging you to understand that pre-launch strategy. And then when you go live, you know the stats. If you sell the home sooner, it's going to sell for more money. What are the most valuable time of that listing? And that is a very short time after you list it. And then it gets to be, I even read stats recently that says if you list a home on Monday, and most people go to look at houses on Saturday, then they pull up the new listings on Thursday. So this article was saying, don't let it be a new listing until Thursday. So in my opinion, it would be a coming soon listing, probably from the Saturday before you go live. It would be a coming soon listing for a week. And then you'd put it live on Thursday, and then you would start showings on Saturday. Now that's an accurate plan. And of course, then you need to understand your market. You don't put a house on the market when you're having basketball playoffs. You don't put a house on the market when you're having the Super Bowl. I mean, there's just some basic things there that you don't do, that you learn after many, many failures in this business. So that's really, really important. Understand the market cycles. I always say that if you don't have your house on the market, at least by tax day, right after tax day, don't put it on the market on April 15th, but have it on the market within a few days after tax day. And if you miss that opportunity, there's a chance you're going to miss the whole market for the whole year. So there you go. I still use coming soon homes. I want you to remember this thing. A really good deal for a homeowner that wants to sell his home is not about the commission rate. And that's what they all think it's about. Believe me, it's not about that. It's about the business plan and the strategy to get the most eyes on that property. And most agents do not spend a whit of time thinking about the process. They just dump it in MLS, probably hire somebody to do the pictures and just pat themselves on the back because they think they've done a good job. I beg to differ. So real estate is hard. It's getting harder. The fact is 82% of all agents work with smaller brokerages, fewer than 25 agents in the office. And why do they do that? They do that because it's comfortable, because there's no high producers in that office for them to look up to learn from, and because it's comfortable. So I want to challenge you to get out of your comfort zone. Look at some different opportunities out of there. That's what I've got to say. If you've got any other ideas, you can give to this conversation about creating listing techniques to sell your homes faster. I'm going to stick around for a few minutes and hope to hear from you.
Okay, got a couple questions lined up. If anybody has some additional ones, put them in the chat box or DM us. Jonas, just going back to listing presentation, or excuse me, the home story. Do you ask for the home story during the listing presentation or after you secure the listing?
Well, John, that's a great question, really, because some listing presentations can go on and on and on and on. I've heard of some people staying there 2, 3, 4 ridiculous hours. So I would say to you, it probably depends. It depends on, sometimes you get a seller that just is an endless fountain of talking about their home. And sometimes it's hard to get out of a listing. I mean, I've experienced all these things. So I'd say it depends. But I think the story is important. But you have to judge. You've got to judge where your time is most valuable. And if you take a 1 o'clock listing appointment and you got another one at 3 o'clock, I'm not sure you've got time to really hear the rest. But you must make time during that process, either at the listing itself, before the listing. I believe there's before you go to the listing, I think there's a strategy you need to have when you're at the listing. My biggest strategy is you get the paperwork signed and then you follow up. And then if you don't get the listing, there's got to be a certain sequence of follow-up there. So I don't know if I even answered your question, but do take time to get that story whenever you get it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we do too, Marty. I mean, we put it in our listing presentation, but we have like a QR code that links to a form for them to submit their home story. Yeah. And I think that's good because it gives them some time to like do it themselves. I'm always amazed when we get these home stories that I use for marketing. Like people write entire books about their house. They do? It's sometimes like 10 paragraphs of story material. So it's good from a listing presentation perspective because like they're putting so much into their home story that at that point it could be a good thing to sell them because they already took so much time to put that into, that home sale.
If you haven't got the listing, hey, I just read your home story and I was blown away. The truth is selling homes is an emotional sale. There is emotion in it. So the reason you get the home story is to connect emotionally. And we get so dry because we've listed so many homes and we've gone through the process so much. So there's a good reason to slow down and use that. And by the way, on Coming Soon Home, there is no minimum amount of words. So you can post, if it's appropriate, you have to read it, believe me, you can post the entire book that the seller gives you if you desire to.
And then Lindsay wants to know, is Office Exclusives free for EXP agents?
It is free. It is free for EXP agents. And also Coming Soon Homes is free for my partners. And of course, I advertise that on the radio as well. So yes, it is free. And it's a great resource also for buyers. I'm talking about listings today because I want you to be able to list properties in order to have a great career. But you got to work with the buyers, and sometimes the Office Exclusive is the best place you're going to find a home for that buyer you're working with. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming by. I hope you'll see you soon. Send us a text. Tell us what you'd like for us to train you on or share with you. And just remember, I'm here if you ever need me. So take care. Have a good time.